Can you see the smoke? It's really bad. What are we, electing a new pope here? Jeez. I'm stuck in traffic, man. Let's hope this thing does not catch fire. Can you hear that? The chirping noise coming from my new supercharged supercar. It's probably not a big deal, but the fact that it didn't even make it a mile home without the engine bay looking like it was going to combust, well, that's what I'm mostly worried about now, especially since the Audi R8 is known as one of the most reliable supercars ever produced. I love the R8 so much, this will be my fourth one, and even though it has these cheesy AutoZone canards drilled into the front bumper, and its wheels look like they came right from Rent and Roll, well, they're mine now, but it's what wasn't in such plain sight that really drew me to this car. This V10 Audi has a Supercharger on it. This kit is still being produced today, and just the blower and the hardware that goes along with it costs about $25,000. But this isn't all that just came with this car. The Supercharger was supposedly part of a $60,000 build package from a company called Stasis. And what's really strange about this car is you see right here it says R000. I'm assuming this should be a build number, and we've got 000. Was this the first one? Was this their test car? I really don't know. That's primarily because this company doesn't seem to exist anymore. I've looked them up, and there's a few articles about them online, and a bunch of people reviewing their cars from over 10 years ago, but other than that, well, I can't find any more information about what exactly we got here, except for the fact that they were one of the first companies to offer a supercharger build for the Audi R8s. And this car would have come with what is called their extreme package. In the form that I found out about this, they describe it as the supercharger, of course, an exhaust to go along with it, a set of lowering springs and wheels. They wouldn't have been these wheels that are on it right now, and that would have run the customer $60,000 installed. And I got this entire thing for way less than $60,000. But there's always a reason this stuff is so cheap. Besides the stuff that we already know about, the other big reason is because this car has 92,000 miles on the clock. Now, when I first saw this car pop up, it was in a private Facebook group, and there was a ton of engagement on it. People were tagging other people, saying they should buy it, and frankly, it was listed pretty cheap. But then again, you got to remember it's really high miles, and that limits the buyers on a car like this. And well, I thought for sure it would have sold, and frankly, I don't really need another car right now. But when I saw it about a month later posted at the wholesale auction, I was like, if this dealer still has this thing, there's a chance that they might sell it even cheaper than the cheap price they had it listed for. I wrote them, I offered them $10,000 less than asking, and they immediately responded with no, but if you take it right now with no more questions, basically, they were pretty friendly, but they're like, please, if we sell it to you for that much, you can't hold the deal out for long. We're motivated to get rid of it, but it kind of sounded like they were tired of dealing with a bunch of inquiries on it, but no tangible buyer. I told them, absolutely, I'll complete the deal in hours, and that's exactly what happened. They took my offer. There was no meeting in the middle. I got this car for $10,000 less than their, what I thought, again, was a really low asking price. And well, the only reason I'm not telling you exactly what I paid for it is because every time I go to sell a car, people just destroy me because they know exactly what I paid for it. So you could take a guess what it went for, but it was well under 60 grand, at least for right now. So as long as there's nothing grossly wrong inside our engine, this is definitely the supercharged supercar bargain of the year sitting right here. We're gonna get this into the garage in a moment, get it up on the lift. But first, we gotta air up these tires, which is made really simple because I've got Fantic's new X10 Cross. This isn't just an amazing tire inflator, it's really so much more because of their intuitive new design and included fittings. Look at the ports up top, one labeled inflate, the other deflate, which makes it a handy on-the-go pump for air mattresses, beach toys, really anything you can think of. Each adapter is here to make sure you can pump it up and do so any time of the day with its integrated flashlight. And right now the X10 Cross is over at Amazon. When you hit my link in the description box and use the coupon code down there during checkout, you're gonna get the lowest price of the year on this, and it's really an amazing new Fantic gadget. They really figured out how to pack everything in this. What's amazing is even the charging port is an output, so you can use it anywhere to juice up your electronics. I use my Fantic tire inflators all the time, as well as their V8 Apex vacuum cleaner. Coupon code again is down in the description box. This handy little guy is powerful and is perfect for a quick cleanup whenever you need. Make sure you check out Fantic's best automotive tools at their best prices of the year over at Amazon at that link down in the description box. So the selling dealer was really upfront about the condition, the problems with this car. The one thing I noticed in the listing was the fact that the tow hook was still in the front bumper there. I asked them about it and they told me the car was dead recently, but it was only because of a failed engine computer. Now I say only, I don't want to know what the replacement of one of these costs at the dealer, but that story checks out because there's a spare engine computer in the front trunk. Along with it are a bunch of different belts. Now you have to think with the supercharger and just the regular drive belt on this car, this thing's probably got 2 or 3 different belts, and there's a bunch of spares in here, but that goes along with the other more major problem that they told me about this car, and that's the fact that it's making a chirping noise. I definitely heard it from the engine bay, and they said that they swapped that supercharger belt 2 times over. It did not cure the noise, and they're thinking the supercharger needs a rebuild. Before we start tearing everything down, we should just confirm that that noise is actually in the supercharger. To do that, we're going to use a very simple tool, a mechanic stethoscope, something I think cost me $5 several years ago, and I don't think I've ever even really used it. It's really simple. This probe goes anywhere you think a noise is coming from on your car. That noise will be amplified through the little earpieces here, and then you find out the source of the noise. Basically, we're gonna check all over the supercharger housing, as well as this bracket that sits right underneath it. It holds a bunch of pulleys in place, and this should tell us exactly where our problem is. This is actually really working well here. I'm not hearing any chirping from the actual supercharger, but here I want to put my microphone up to one of these earpieces so you can kind of hear what I'm hearing. I don't hear anything abnormal coming from the top part of the supercharger at all. Like, very strange. I mean, it's good news so far that we haven't found anything wrong up there, but now I'm just puzzled. And you can hear the car's warm at this point. The noise is definitely subdued, but it's still there. Let's get it up in the air, and let's just see if there's anything on the bottom end. All right, let's see. You can hear it right here. I don't even need these things. It sounds like this little tensioner under here. If this is a tensioner problem, and literally what looks like one of the easier tensioners to get to on this car, it'll be insane. I was putting the probe right here on the housing of it, and then also right on the front screw. The actual insert for where you stick a socket to take tension off is a huge Torx, and it's tucked up in there. There's like no space. But I shouldn't complain, because if you look at the rest of this car and you look at how much space the supercharger setup takes up, this is actually one of the best places we could be dealing with the problem. Oh, come on, come on. Oh, there it is. All right, good. I got it. All right, so the tension is currently off the alternator. And now, let's see. Oh, and our bolt is also loose for our pulley. All right. There's one part, other one. There we go. All right, so with the pulley out, I've got the belt hanging. I want to start the car and see if the noise goes away. If it does, that means that our problem is definitely going to be in the bearing here. is gone. All right, cut it off. Okay, well, at least the source of our noise is much less serious than we originally thought. Well, I'm pretty sure replacing this pulley will fix the noise. Technically, it could be any other part that rides along with this tensioner, which includes another idler pulley and the alternator pulley. We'll keep things simple and just start with this, which seems to be the easiest solution. That is, until I found that Audi does not sell the pulley by itself. They want you to buy an entire tensioner, which costs $400. Now, if we look into the center bearing, there's a part number, and unfortunately, when you search it doesn't seem like they sell this pulley anywhere, at least not as a new part. So instead, let's just take a few measurements. We can see it has a 70 millimeter overall diameter, it's 21 millimeters wide, and the center hole is 17 millimeters. From here, I just typed this into Gemini and it popped up an entire list of close fit pulleys. It turns out there's nothing exactly in this size readily available. However, there are two options that are either a couple millimeters up or down in width, and that should totally work since the aftermarket belt for this alternator is so skinny. And what's even better is that the local auto parts store carry both of these sizes and they only cost about $30. I went and grabbed one, and that should take care of the noise, but in the meantime, we really still can't drive this car until we stop that smoke coming from the engine bay. Okay. This is a plastic valve cover on an Audi R8, come on. You know, it's funny, I did a video and I replaced the master cylinder, right? Master cylinder, yeah. And it was made out of plastic, and people are like, I can't believe that, $150,000 car plastic parts, but there you go. Plastic valve cover. Some people actually have problems with these warping. I'm hoping ours is just the gasket, but we'll take a closer look around there and see where this oil's coming from. All right, not bad, pretty straightforward. This side actually has the PCV diaphragm on it, and these can fail, and they'll cause some exaggerated oil leaks or rough running conditions. Audi does not sell just the diaphragm. They want you to buy the entire valve cover. Of course, we're not going to do that, but I am noticing as well, this side does have a lot of caked up and built up oil on it. And I'll show you inside real quick. The insides of the engine look beautiful, especially for 90,000 miles. Really well maintained. But you can see down here on top of the heat shield where all that oil's getting out and causing our smoke. It's really incredible that they use a plastic valve cover on this car. Now this is the upper part of the gasket that's going to be closer to the supercharger, and you can see it's not bad at all. It feels fresh. It does not feel worn out, but if we come to the lower part, the part that sits right up against that exhaust manifold, it's stuck in there. It's hard. It's brittle, it's not flexing as nearly as much as the top side, so that definitely would cause the oil leak that we've got that's dripping right on the exhaust. All we need to do here is find a place where it's actually going to come out. It's really shrunk up around these bolts here. There we go. All right. See how much easier it comes off the top side ones. The spark plug rings also feel pretty dried out and stuck as well. I'll just clean everything off and install our new ones. Even though I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with this, we're gonna go and swap it out anyway because it's a really inexpensive part. My friend Ryan from RKX Tech, he does the manual swaps for these cars. And he let me know, since I was doing valve covers, that I should just get one of these. Really inexpensive part, like 30 or 40 bucks. And it's just good insurance. So we'll just push it in, and I think we just slide it, and that doesn't do. There's just a little notch where this cap sits, and it's really not being very. All right, we're learning as we go along here. It turns out that these things just spin on and off. So don't pry against your Audi R8 valve cover. Just spin the old one off, pop the new one on in place, make sure everything's centered, and spin it on. But otherwise, we're ready to throw on our new valve cover gaskets and basically put the car back together. There's not even a lot of room, but there's a lot more room than that N63 engine, and they're plastic, so they're nice and light. It's weight savings, you know, that's why Lamborghini uses plastic. Audi uses plastic on these. I want to make sure I'm not messing them up as I'm pushing them in. This one's kind of a pain in the neck to get in, but again, I think I would take it over the BMW. All right, there it is. Yeah. Nice, beautiful. Okay, I'll just run my finger along the gasket, make sure that it's actually still in the same place. And then in the bottom corner, which is where it's most important, yeah, that feels nice. Before we buttoned everything up, I also grabbed a set of spark plugs at the same time I was buying the valve cover gaskets, and I think it was a good thing we did because quite a few of them were really dark and oily. Also, you'll notice the VW stamp on the original plugs. These are the OEM style ones, which I'm sure are great, but a lot of guys that run boosted setups always recommend to go a heat range down, which I did. Now, just for fun to see what the spark looks like on a well-used plug versus our brand new ones, I ran them in our spark plug tester, and you could see the old one is still reliably making spark. Now we just need to clean up our ignition coils and slap everything back together and hope our noise and smoking is gone. It sounds great to me, and I know that's a lot of smoke, but that's just from where a little bit of coolant dripped when we removed the reservoir while we were working on the car. This slowed down pretty quick, and now we're good to go and ready to finally see what over 700 all-wheel mid-engine horsepower is all about. I never felt anything like that. Honda just passed us. To be fair, we're not going that fast.
Holy.
It's all right. It ain't no Tesla Plaid. You know, you hear 700 horsepower nowadays, and it doesn't sound like a lot, especially since, like, you can go to the dealer, buy a Hellcat with 700 horsepower. But the big difference between something like this and a Hellcat is obviously the fact that this is all-wheel drive. It's also in a mid-engine chassis that can handle the 700 horsepower. You can't wring this car out in the first couple gears without either turning off the traction control or putting it into sport mode, because it will spin all four tires. And again, even though 700 horsepower might not be, 1,000, this thing feels so violent compared to anything else I've driven. And it's such a departure from the regular V10 Audi R8 or Lamborghini Huracan or Gallardo. You just downshifted a couple gears. Oh my God. It gives you that roller coaster feeling. This is why these build kits cost so much and why people actually spend tens of thousands of dollars to make something that's already fast, a V10 Audi, and make it just like ungodly fast. And the noise is outstanding. Entire car just finished. So overall, I think this thing is wild. It's a ton of fun. Would I ever spend 25 or 30,000 just to supercharge one of these cars? Never. It totally puts this car on edge 100% of the time you're driving it, and I love the feeling of the naturally aspirated V10 in the Lamborghinis and the Audis. These are my favorite sports cars and supercars by far, and the way they come out of the box is perfect. This is Extreme. That's why they named this package the Extreme package, but I already have a couple of them in the garage that are stock, so this one is a welcome addition. Jeez Louise. All right, if you made it this far, I can't hold you out. I'll let you know what I paid for the car. But to put things in perspective, the best deal I ever got in an Audi R8 is the original one from the salvage auction, the V8 stick shift with around 40,000 miles on it. I paid around $28,000 or $29,000 for it. This is my favorite supercar of all time. I'll never get rid of it. And it looks beautiful on the extra wide bend pack lift. You can put 2 up, 2 down, and eventually this will be the corner of Audi R8s once we get this hunk of junk out of here. Now, obviously the big difference between this car and that one, besides the salvage status of this one, is the V10 engine. That obviously adds a lot to the resale value. I paid $55,000 for the supercharged V10 Audi R8. And well, I think that's really an incredible deal as long as there's nothing really wrong with it. And the check engine light did come back on the way home. We're also gonna have to do a little bit more of a thorough check of the drivetrain because with such a big engine, even a little problem can require the entire thing to have to be dropped out of the car. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Is 55 grand for this car with all of its modifications a good deal? I sure think so. If you're as excited as I am for this super cheap, supercharged supercar, be sure to hit the like button. And well, if we do get to the point where the engine has to come out, well, at least you'll be the first to know as long as you're subscribed to the channel. Now, guys, I can't thank each and every one of you enough for watching today, and I'll catch you very soon.